We used to worry about bank robbers and serial killers. Now businesses gotta check under sedans for a foot goblin hiding near the tires. So today we're looking at a few cases where people let their uncontrollable gooner instincts completely destroy their lives, and somehow each case gets progressively more insane. First, we need to talk about the cop who allegedly turned his patrol vehicle into a mobile edging station. Back in November 2024, police deputy Tristan McComber from Florida was driving his cruiser down County Road 435 when he suddenly rear-ended a woman stopped behind a school bus. Already a terrible look. Hitting someone with a police cruiser is bad enough. But then investigators reviewed the body cam footage and allegedly discovered this man wasn't texting. He was reportedly browsing pornographic content while driving. That's right, bro was allegedly doom-scrolling cheeks while operating a government vehicle. Taxpayer-funded horniness.
He says, I can't control my horny level.
And according to reports, the footage supposedly showed him glancing down at his phone moments before impact, which somehow makes this feel even dumber because this wasn't some high-speed chase or emergency situation. This man was apparently multitasking. He was trying to patrol the streets while simultaneously conducting his own private research expedition. After the crash, he gets out of the vehicle embarrassed as hell and starts apologizing to the woman he hit.
Hello, ma'am. Are you okay? I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
My brakes locked up.
Imagine finding out the reason your car got obliterated is because Officer Goonsworth here allegedly couldn't survive a traffic light without opening the hub. That's not even a real insurance category. Then comes the best part. The excuse. At first, he reportedly told fellow officers that the roads were wet and his brakes locked up behind the school bus. He even mentioned ABS problems like he was auditioning for NASCAR Damage Control Monthly. And honestly, decent attempt. Could have worked too, until investigators looked closer at the footage and allegedly noticed the phone in his hand. Now backed into a corner harder than a raccoon in a trash can, McComber reportedly changed the story and claimed he was just checking a group chat with other officers, which immediately raises the horrifying possibility that there's a secret police department goon Discord somewhere out there. But investigators checked the group chat and reportedly found nothing explicit, meaning the excuse collapsed instantly. At that point, there was nowhere left to go. The jig was up. The goon session had reached critical failure. Eventually, according to reports, he admitted he had been looking at explicit material before the crash. Internal investigations cited policy violations, including phone usage and not wearing a seatbelt, and by early 2025, he resigned from the department entirely. Imagine ending your law enforcement career not because of corruption, not because of some dramatic criminal conspiracy, but because you allegedly couldn't stop looking at boobs for the duration of a school zone. That's a level of self-destruction that almost feels parody written, like if South Park made a cop character named Officer Nutwell. But somehow, this still isn't the weirdest story here, because next, we need to talk about the Starbucks incident.
What are you doing?
A customer records as employees who may not be aware continue calling for orders.
Get the out.
Now, usually when you walk into a Starbucks, the worst thing you expect is hearing somebody confidently order a drink with 14 words in it. Maybe someone's arguing over oat milk. Maybe a guy named Trevor is writing a screenplay in the corner for the 9th consecutive year. Pretty standard coffee shop activities. But in March 2022, one Starbucks in Miami Beach allegedly became ground zero for one of the most insane public indecency stories imaginable. A 27-year-old man named Blake Rain reportedly walked into the Starbucks, ignored the menu entirely, and instead wandered over near an American flag hanging inside the store, which already sounds like the beginning of a weird side quest. But according to police reports and witness footage, this man then allegedly exposed himself and began publicly gooning inside the cafe at 9:30 in the morning. That's the detail that really kills me here.
The man in this video was arrested for lewd and lascivious behavior inside a Miami Beach Starbucks.
What are you doing?
A customer records as employees who may not be aware continue calling for orders.
Get the out. It's disgusting.
This wasn't some drunken midnight disaster outside a nightclub. People were just trying to get caffeine before work. Somebody probably walked in thinking about spreadsheets and emails, only to be greeted by Captain Freedom jackhammering near the pastry section. And somehow the footage makes it even more surreal. Employees are allegedly still calling out drink orders in the background while this chaos unfolds. You've got one person screaming in horror while another barista calmly says something like, "Caramel macchiato for Emma." That level of workplace composure deserves Employee of the Month immediately. Starbucks workers have genuinely seen every possible stage of human collapse. The woman recording the incident starts confronting him, yelling at him to stop, and according to reports, the entire thing allegedly continued for several minutes before police arrived, which is just unfathomable commitment to the bit. Most criminals panic after like 3 seconds of public attention. This guy apparently treated humiliation like a renewable energy source. And then came the getaway attempt. When officers showed up, Blake reportedly fled the scene on foot, leading police on a chase down Collins Avenue before eventually being tased and arrested.
Video shows police trying to take 27-year-old Blake Rain into custody. The police report says Rain ran from police. He's combative while police tase him.
The charges reportedly included lewd behavior, disorderly conduct, and resisting an officer. But somehow the court appearance might have been even worse, because according to reports, Blake allegedly started arguing with the judge during the hearing and became disruptive enough that the judge threatened to mute him entirely.
The suspect appeared in bond court. Rain was argumentative with the judge and tells the judge he works on the beach.
If you don't stop, I'm going to mute you and you will not be able to speak for the rest of this hearing. Do you understand me?
Imagine fumbling your situation so badly that even the courtroom software is like, yeah, we gotta put this guy on timeout. And the weirdest part? Authorities later discovered he allegedly had separate legal issues waiting for him in New York. So this wasn't even his first entry in the criminal behavior expanded universe. This Starbucks incident was apparently just another chapter. But as bizarre as that story is, it still somehow feels small time compared to our final case. Because the next guy wasn't hiding in a coffee shop. He was a licensed doctor. And according to allegations, this man allegedly transformed his medical practice into something so absurdly inappropriate that it sounds like a deleted scene from a horror comedy written by someone having a fever dream. Dr. David, an Arkansas physician with decades of experience, was already known for controversy before any of this happened. Reports say he'd previously faced issues involving prescription practices and medical board scrutiny. But none of that prepared people for what investigators allegedly uncovered later. Because according to reports, this doctor openly described himself as a naturist, basically meaning he believed nudity was completely normal and shouldn't be stigmatized. Which, okay, weird flex, but whatever. Lots of people have unconventional lifestyles. The problem allegedly started when that lifestyle followed him directly into his workplace. Now at first, the Arkansas Medical Board reportedly looked into the guy because of a nudist-themed social media page he allegedly ran called Naked Dr. Dave, which already sounds like the worst possible person to follow online. That's not a username, that's a threat. When questioned about it, Dr. David allegedly defended himself by saying he didn't stigmatize the naked body and insisted none of this crossed over into his professional life. And for a while, that explanation actually worked. The board apparently backed off because technically being a weird nudist online isn't illegal. Strange? Absolutely. Illegal? Not necessarily. But then, investigators reportedly obtained surveillance footage from inside the doctor's office, and according to allegations, that footage showed Dr. David allegedly wandering around his medical practice completely naked during office hours. Not at home, not at some nudist resort in the woods, an actual functioning medical office with staff and patients present. Imagine showing up for a routine appointment and your physician appears like he just spawned into existence with 0 clothing textures loaded in. There's no medical training on earth that prepares you for that experience, and it allegedly got even worse. Reports claimed the footage showed him casually interacting with female employees while unclothed, speaking to patients, and generally acting like this was all perfectly normal behavior. Which is the part that makes the whole thing so disturbing. There's this alleged layer of complete confidence to it. Like he genuinely thought nobody would eventually say, "Hey man, maybe don't freeball your way through a clinical environment." Then, anonymous complaints reportedly started pouring in. And these weren't minor complaints either. According to investigative reports, multiple allegations surfaced accusing the doctor of abusing his authority and creating an extremely inappropriate environment for staff and patients. One allegation reportedly claimed he used his position of power to manipulate employees through grooming behavior and inappropriate conduct. Another civil lawsuit filed by a patient alleged repeated misconduct during examinations over an extended period of time. The legal filings described emotional distress, anxiety, humiliation, and loss of trust in medical professionals afterward. That's when the entire situation stopped being internet weird and started becoming genuinely disturbing. Because now it wasn't just some eccentric old guy acting bizarre. These were serious allegations involving patients, employees, and a professional medical setting where people are supposed to feel safe. And according to reports, when investigators confronted Dr. David about the alleged surveillance footage, he initially denied knowing anything about it. Which is always the funniest strategy when there's literal video evidence. It's like trying to beat security cameras with the power of imagination. Then investigators reportedly showed him the footage directly. At that point, the medical board suspended his license. And honestly, this might be the clearest example imaginable of someone ruining their own life through unchecked behavior. You spent decades becoming a doctor, one of the hardest professions on earth to enter, only to allegedly throw it all away because you couldn't stop acting like a malfunctioning Skyrim NPC inside your own clinic. That's the terrifying thing about all these stories. Every single person here had multiple opportunities to simply act normal. That was literally the only requirement. Nobody asked for greatness. Nobody demanded perfection. Society basically handed them the easiest possible objective. Please do not publicly goon. And somehow that challenge proved impossible.